Recording is on.
Hello and welcome to the Monday, February 1st, 2021 DXbiz call. Um, the agenda for today is we have new member introduction, a quick overview of the Airtable BizDev table. Bogdan from Stater is here and he will present partnership. Joseph from Token Insight is here and he will talk to us and present himself. Venki has a few ideas around due diligence for IDOs. Chris has some ideas on using UMA for DXDAO. We have kind of feedback on the recent testing of Alpress from Almonit, and a quick discussion on Arbitrum and DXDAO announcement. So I don't think there's anyone new that's not going to speak. So maybe we can just start the call. I was thinking of quickly sharing the Airtable.
Yeah. So, Elon, just on that point, I like the relevant entries that are on the Airtable that have like something new has changed in the last week. Those like things like UMA opportunities for DXDAO, and then like the current new situation with Alpress. So like those are already becoming the talking points of the actual BizDev call. So
Okay.
there's no reason to run through the entire thing, which would take 30 minutes. Like it just doesn't. It's not. This is not the appropriate call for that. I think.
All right. Yeah. Makes
Most
sense.
of it won't be. Most of it, there's like you can be a part of that, but the important ones where something new has happened in the last week, I think those are the like become the topics of the actual BizDev call. So that those are added on there, but then we're going to talk about those as well.
All right.
I think
Sounds
that's
good.
probably the better way to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So maybe we could just start with Bogdan. If you want to maybe quickly introduce yourself and then introduce the partnership.
Okay. Hi guys. First of all, thanks for having me in this call. My name is Bogdan. I'm co-founder and CEO at Stater. And at Stater, we are building an open source peer-to-peer lending platform for NFT assets that will offer users the option to leverage and unlock the value of their asset without losing ownership. We started this idea at the beginning of last year when we saw like the opportunity with the NFT market. And now we are currently on Rinkaby with the product. So if you want to go and check it out, you can do that right now. And regarding the product, we also have like a lot of information on the website. We have the product available. The core set of functionality is quite straightforward. So basically the platform will act like a marketplace. So the borrower will have the option to create a loan package with one individual asset or create a bundle with multiple assets. And he will set the terms like the loan value, the loan duration, and the borrow amount. And after that, he will list the asset on the marketplace, and other lenders will be able to provide the borrower with a loan. So that's like for the first version, and on the second version, we'll try to automate as much as possible the valuation process, which is quite tricky to do because most of the assets have a subjective value, and because the actual market is based on scarcity, you'll never actually be able to like objectively evaluate a game, or like, let's say if we look like games, like the entire game or the actual asset from the game, or like the assets that an artist has. So this part is quite complicated. And we also want to introduce pool lending in the system to automate as much the entire process and be able to offer fast loans to the users. So that's like the main overview of the project. And we are actually looking at Mesa for our IDO. So we are planning to do an IDO sometime this month. And yeah, we think Mesa is a great product, and we would love to work with you guys. So I think it would be better if we'd have more like a conversation on this subject rather than like a long presentation.
Yeah, thanks, Bogdan. And I'll just say a few things because Bogdan and I and Martin a little bit also, we've been talking about the project in general. And, obviously, we're working on a new version of Mesa, which will eventually be new and improved. But Bogdan and the team are aware of, they've seen the different IDOs in the past and things that have happened on the original Mesa using Gnosis Protocol v1. And are aware of the risks with it. There are actions that can be taken to minimize some of those risks as well. And so, and I think Bogdan and the team are also quite aware of Gnosis in general, and and the different products that they've made. In general, we've been talking a lot about NFTs also here. NFT lending and borrowing will become a very popular thing. It will become more integrated into DeFi. This will eventually happen. Now, there's not a good platform that does it, and it becomes harder for the same reason we just talked about of fungible versus non-fungible. But John mentioned before, there's going to be better and better ways to live value different types of NFTs. And as that happens, lending and borrowing against those seems like a no-brainer that will happen. So it seems this is a project in a space that has a pretty big future, and I think it's still early days. And so obviously Bogdan and team, they have a token in mind. They have been bootstrapped, I understand, up until now, and so they have a plan to do a raise and have a token. There's a few tokens that are out there in the market, but a very, very small amount. And I don't know if anyone had any questions. I think it's I think Mesa, the original Mesa, is in a position that could do an IDO for this team, assuming that DXDAO community is on board. I think maybe open it up for questions or comments.
Yeah.
I guess how far along are you in designing basically the sale, tokenomics, dates, even that you want to do this, and I guess the other side of this, if this would be us and Martin saying when will, do you want to use the Mesa version 1 or Mesa version 2? That just depends on your timeline.
So regarding the timeline, we are thinking at the end of this month. So right now we are in the process of raising a private sale, and depending on how well this process goes, we will look at the IDO. So that is a rough deadline, somewhere in the second part of this month.
Yeah, we talked about Botgan, Sky, and me. We talked about using the old Mesa for this because the other is not ready yet, and the other already did listed the token on Mesa, but the thing is that we have to whitelist it on the interface, if we agree. And the other thing is, what's a little bit different. There is already a token out there. The token is not the first. It's not the first time it hits mainnet, and I didn't go into details, but maybe Botgan, you should try to be very transparent about this, because I think for us it's important to know how much. Yeah.
So what is the exact question? Yes, we do have the token already.
My mindset is more that my mindset about IDEO was, but it's my mindset, and you were the first one. Yeah, you were the first one I talked to, and he told me we have already a token on the mainnet, and
Yes.
how so how, but don't understand how then it's playing out, because if the people buy token on Mesa, then the price of this token, the price of the Uniswap token, there will be some arbitrage happening at some point. And I don't know if you, what's the dynamic there and what you expect?
Yeah, so I understand the question. So first of all, if you look at the actual token, the amount of shareholders is not that big. So there are not that many shareholders. We basically distributed the token mostly as an airdrop to our stater NFT holders. So it's not like a big amount that would actually impact the entire process.
Yeah, in a way, it's
most
also
of the
new.
Tokens are vested in our contract.
Yes, I just want, in a way, it's not our. I think we are mostly interested that the sale is going well. That there's not friction, and
yes.
That's just our take. And it's
Yeah,
not
so
that
there is a risk,
we don't need about
even if we look
anything
at the
about.
worst case scenario, it's like a very small risk for some other some other user to dump, because by default there will not be like a high amount of tokens that are currently distributed.
Okay.
So users are unable to buy like on Uniswap or on other markets. So we just did like some small airdrop.
But I think it's on Uniswap right now. Did you draw the liquidity?
Yeah, so yeah, we just put like very little amount in liquidity just to create a pool, but you cannot actually buy, I don't know, 10 ETH worth of tokens or something like that.
Okay.
It's like a very small amount. It's like 0.01 ETH or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, but it's just that I think Sky, how do you manage? Normally they should make a proposal on the forum. And
oh yeah, so we had Bogdan. He did post some information on a forum. I actually don't think like this tiny amount of like tokens that are out there, like if it's so small and there's no liquidity on Uniswap, I don't think that should really affect a Mesa sale.
Yeah, I also wonder.
Yeah, we don't
because,
think either.
Oh, go ahead, Bogdan.
No. So it's the same. Like we don't think like it can affect, because it's like a very small amount from the total percentage. So it wouldn't matter. Even in the worst case scenario, it wouldn't actually matter.
And in the current version of Mesa, when people do sales, there's a bit of projects were doing, a sale over time with like different brackets, and like if there was free floating supply, then like that came in and like dumped on the sale. Basically, that could be kind of like awkward for the project. I'm not sure. Like Martin would know better, but I don't know if it would be as much of a problem in the newer version that will be coming out for Mesa, like the relaunch. But yeah, that was just like a consideration. I think something to think about. If it's a small amount or it's locked up or whatever, it's probably not that significant.
Yeah. And then I guess in general for the new people here and Bogdan also, like in general, like if DXDAO community, is supportive of this project, after we'll have a little discussion in the forums, and obviously you join this call, the next steps would be like you have like an outline for your for like the dates and the size and things with the IDO, and we would basically do a on-chain proposal to have that token added to the Mesa token whitelist so that it shows up on Mesa in the drop-down list. And then there could be, you obviously would have like your own marketing plan around the sale, and then potentially DXDAO could participate in spreading the awareness of that sale as well. And then the sale happens. And then there's like, we probably want to also talk with Gnosis about like, or be aware of the extra steps that need to be taken to put in the orders. Like, don't have the orders sitting in there way ahead of time, but you kind of put in the orders very like closer to the when the sale is going to happen, so that the attack vector of like with that happened with API3 doesn't happen, which I think can be avoided.
Okay, yeah, that would be perfect.
I have a question, if we still have time for it.
Yeah, go for it.
So for the NFT, I think like doing lending against NFTs makes a ton of sense. I mean, people lend against, you know, individual objects in the real world all the time. One question I have is like, how do you expect people to value the NFTs, or is there a model?
That's a great question. That's a great question. So like, if we look at non-fungible tokens and we try to compare like the lending process, it's very hard to compare it with the conventional crypto lending with fungible tokens, because even if we look like inside a specific game or like inside like an artist's portfolio of art, we see that by default, the entire market is based on diversity and on scarcity. So in our view, like the subjective value is what makes NFTs so special. And we don't actually want to intervene in this process. So like if the market values each artwork subjectively, that's okay. So our process, especially with the automation process, is to actually value the artist or the game. Because if we take like a bigger picture, if we take like a look on the bigger picture level, and we see like, for example, if we compare like a set of 10 games by volume and by trading activity, in the case where the borrower doesn't actually repay the loan, I think that if we follow this process and whitelist only games that are popular and have volume compared, of course, to the other games from the market, I think that we can increase our chances to resell the asset and break even. And also, like we can optimize the entire process based on the loan to value ratio and on the interest rate, to make sure that we only need to sell like a part of the assets, or like in the peer-to-peer example, the lender only needs to sell only a part of the assets to break even. So regarding the price, I think that we should let the market evaluate the actual price of the assets, and we take a look mostly at games and maybe like a deeper look to see if there is some kind of wash trading in the back when they're trying to, in the case that some users tries to manipulate the market.
Right, that
but
makes sense.
overall, the entire value is very subjective, so it's very hard to evaluate, and I think like you'll never be able to do that, because that's like the essence of the market. Like that's what makes them so unique, and it's based on scarcity.
Yeah, totally. It reminds me of, I don't know a whole lot about what they're doing, but I'm in their Telegram group and I know one of the founders, but there's a project called Upshot, which is like working on like an appraisal system for NFTs. And so it just kind of reminded me of this problem. Have you talked to them
for NFTs?
Yeah, I want to tell them about your project, because it seems like it would be up their alley, like what you guys are doing.
Yeah, but I think like I get the point. Like you're trying to evaluate assets one against each other, so that makes sense. But it's just a subjective price. Like even if you look at real art, or like if you look at luxury watches, it's not like based on the actual amount of work that you do to create that specific asset, even if it's a painting. Like if you look at Banksy, like it's the popular artist, it doesn't matter what he paints, right? He could just throw a line on a painting and it would sell with $2 million or something like that. And actually, it was a fun thing. Like he created a painting, and after the auction has ended, he actually destroyed the painting. He had like a paper cutter. So yeah, so it doesn't really matter. It's just like a subjective market, and I think that we have to respect that and find ways to look at the bigger picture to see how we can manage risk with the entire lending process.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Bogdan. Yeah, I guess
Thank you so much.
Yeah, let's stay in touch, and feel free to post in the Keybase or to continue the DAO Talk topic that you've already.
Yeah. Okay.
Next up, we have Joseph from Token Insight. Joseph, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, nice to meet you here, gentlemen. And this is actually my first time joining this kind of meeting, so it's really new for me. And okay, let me make a brief of our company. And Token Insight is a technology-driven financial blockchain company, and we focused on data and analytics. So we work to continuously provide ratings, research, data, and consulting services focused on the Great China area market, and including some Asian part. And as one of the most influential digital asset rating and research institution, Token Insight has issued more than 400 projects rating reports and hundreds of publications focused on the industry research. And our data ratings and research reports have been published on more than, I have to say, it's like 70 platforms globally. And those include the CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, and Masari, Delta, Binance Info. And also we have one section in the CoinDesk Research, and they list our industry reports. That's quarterly industry reports. So for the us, we have a very mature rating and ranking system based on the multiple dimensions of data and information. So therefore, our rating result has a very strong reference value and credibility. And recently, we have launched the DeFi data page, and our website is tokeninsight.com. I can type in here. Yeah, this is our website, and we recently launched the DeFi section, which is in our data section, and we have a DeFi page. We collected some DeFi projects in there, and we integrate their data, and we can make an initial rating for that. And if you want to get a forming and report, then we can provide that service for you. And I'm just wondering if you guys have any marketing plan in the Asian part. Since I know you guys started like 2019, and you have you governments multiple decentralized projects, so we can integrate all those projects data on our website, and we can do initial rating, and we can form rating report for DXD token. And also, if you have any market needs, we can assist you with it. Yeah, that's basically what I want to say.
Yeah.
Great.
I totally think we should have like. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. So what did you say, Nela?
Like, I totally think that a strategic kind of like goal that we should have is to have either a sub-DAO squad or something for the Asian market. It's pretty big, and I guess Powers here has also lived in China. The Chinese market is big, completely different from the Western one, and it has a lot of potential. I need to figure out like what's kind of like the long-term plan for that, and how do we execute it? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I can share some proposals since it's midnight here, and I got all my stuff in my computer in my company's computer. So I can share by like tomorrow morning to Keenan, since we have spoken on the Telegram, and I can form like a proposal, a decent proposal for you guys to review. I'm thinking if that's okay for you guys.
That would be awesome, Joseph.
Great. So, we can actually be the doorstep for the Chinese market expanding, since our brand image is quite big in the Chinese market, and our report has a very strong reference value and the credibility, so it attracts lots of high value clients in China. Not only investors, but also like some industry fellows who works in the crypto field. And we have actually we have self-media channels in mainland of China in the mainstream. And also we have good partnership with Huobi and Binance and all those big exchanges. So I think it's going to be helpful for you guys to getting access with Chinese market. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I think it's really important for DXDAO to make sure it's engaging kind of everywhere that it can. That's like a really important piece of becoming distributed and decentralized.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, like I don't think DXDAO has done any of the kind of like pay to play, like pay for listings or that kind of thing. But I think what is important is like having a presence in China and Asia, and making sure people know what we're about and know how to get involved in that kind of thing. So I think if the focus is more about providing information and like engagement in the Asian market for like users and like members and less so on not just on listings and that kind of thing, but I think that could be good.
Yeah. And I actually Googled the article, the Chinese reading article about you guys. It's not that much. I can read one from 2019 and another one is from last year. Then there's no more information. I think it's going to be a big gap for you guys to know China better, and for the Chinese users to know you guys better. I think it's going to be, we can work on that, I think.
Yeah, and the other thing just to think about is like, we also have like, I guess, the different products. So maybe the products could be, different.
Totally.
Omen, for instance, I think is a huge opportunity.
I see you have the Omen and the Swapper, Mesa, and all those projects. We can just do that separately and get a introduction for the DXDAO, this organization. I think, we can do that. And we can just list all those projects by their data, by all the projects data, and form multiple reports for each projects. Yeah.
Sounds great.
Okay, so if you guys have any questions, just feel free to drop me messages, and I will make the documentary prepared tomorrow, and I will share it to Keenan.
Awesome.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you help with like press releases for Asian communities, or are you only like, do you have connections more than for, let's say, Chinese media or something like that?
Yeah, we do actually, and personally, I have some contact of the media guys, and I'm glad to help you out with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, we could.
yeah, we could explore stuff here. We definitely need that connection.
Yeah, sure. And I can type in my Telegram ID, so you guys can just drop me messages.
Are you on our Keybase also, or are you only on the Telegram?
Discord, yeah, Discord's same,
Discord.
but
Okay, perfect.
yeah, Discord works too, and I also can type my email address in. Or if you guys have WeChat, is better, but all those channels can work. Yeah,
that's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for coming, Joseph.
Yeah, thank you.
Next up is Venki here? Yeah, Venki. So Venki had a few ideas around basically due diligence for IDOs. Kind of discussed this for a few moments before the call started, but Venki,
Venki, before you jump in, just the background. When Mesa was the hot IDO platform, and we had lots of incoming interest, in mid 2020 and things, we talked about ideas like having a minimum set of criteria. Obviously, we want to make sure projects are not scammy. We want to, but it's kind of permissionless. So we want to be an open platform that's available for most people, assuming they're not a scam. And DXDAO doesn't want to support anything that looks, off. But we have never, and then it kind of died down a little bit, and we haven't really put this process in place. And Venki has been helping out, with some biz dev things, and he's done such a great job with like the structure of the OKRs that it made sense. And he was getting involved in some of the discussions around some of these new potential IDOs and things. So he's gonna get more involved in that process. And as part of the learnings, like we discussed, like it would be great to have a more established, like clear criteria that the community is aware of, and then projects who come into DXDAO could be aware of. And so Venki started putting that together, and it's still an early version, but it's like the idea is to start this formation of a process that like will be very transparent and easy for people internally and externally to understand. And so I don't know, Venki, if you want to like run through some of the ideas you had, at least the initial ones.
Yeah. I mean, I will just share my screen here. It's a very rough document that I've started preparing. Just a minute. Yeah. So So I have. I'm just trying to consolidate all the thoughts that I have in my mind and talk to Martin, and then I have some questions from our discussions, and then trying to come up with an action list of what needs to be done. So basically, so first step, whenever any project that approaches us, is basically like making a talk post and asking them to write about the summary, roadmap, where they are in the roadmap, and what do they expect from DXDAO. And then, they hop onto the call, and then they present the project. Later on, I think it is good if DXDAO also participates in if it is a project that is backed by DXDAO, like for instance Alpress, for instance, then we do testing. We do check if the product is actually ready to market. We can check if the products understand who the competitors are and how do they differentiate from the competitors, basically trying to figure out the product market fit. How decentralized is this product? It is also good for us in terms of backing projects that are decentralized. What is the tokenomics? How is the contracts available? If there's been any audits on the contracts done, somebody has added here. So be transparent about who owns the token before the IDO. So I'm just listing down items, and I would probably reach out to you guys and then get this list better. And then I was just speaking to Martin just before the call, where we were trying to see how Bounce and other IDO providers were doing it. So do we have any non-curated IDOs, and then do we have any curated IDOs? Do we have to have some sort of differentiation between that? If it is a non-curated, or do we even have a non-curated IDO in the roadmap? If it is curated IDO, I mean, the rep holders would vote for the IDO, and then what is the legal implication of the votes? Can a person that is voting this can take part in the sale? And how do we define how distributed is this voting? Just trying to sketch out thoughts here, and I would reach out to you guys, and yeah, I would prefer if you guys also share this and add more details to it. What are your comments?
Yeah. Go ahead, Martin.
Yeah, I think it's doing. It's important to start thinking about this kind of stuff, because we have like to be ready if there's an inflow of IDO things coming to us. And I think we should like think, have in, maybe we can turn it around, think like in labels we want to give to IDOs, like officially supported DXDAO sale, or like, and then maybe go backwards and think what's the most what fits to these labels, or like maybe we have several labels like high decentralization or whatever it is, but maybe it would easier to turn it around and think, yeah, what we expect if we put like a decentralized label on this one. And yeah, there are different things to explore, and because I think many of us take part in different sales, it makes sense that that we just collect ideas and then maybe sort it later in a later stage. If we see what's the projects coming to us, and then we can try to start rating them on our system and see how it fits. Yeah, go ahead, Sky.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense. What we've seen in the past, this process of incoming interest, especially when it's hot, it's like a it's like a touchy process. Like sometimes it's very hard to tell the difference between a project that is legit versus almost legit versus like not legit. And so having a structure in place that at least makes a certain characteristics very clear is a way for DXDAO to be open without DXDAO believes in like permissionless and openness and things, and so it's not like we don't always want to be the deciding like, is this like going to be a successful project, or this token and things like that, rather than be an open platform, but at the same time prevent the the scam projects. And so there's a fine line there. So having a structure is going to be really important. And then I like your label idea of assigning labels to different projects. Anyway, yeah, I guess this is a work in progress.
Yeah, I think this is great. Maybe I guess this should also be like a DAO talk post, and then we can iterate on that there. And yeah, I kind of feel like these things should have deadline for something that we have. And okay, this is like version 1 of this is how we qualify an IDO, and we'll have iterations on that too. But just to have like, I don't know, a deadline till the end of February that we issue this. I don't know, thoughts?
Well, I guess, are you saying, should we have a deadline on coming up with a process for evaluating IDOs?
Yeah, or like a checklist, or the questions that we're asking on, and this could be just the first iteration, because there are many things here. We should narrow it down to like sort of what is the MVP that we want to evaluate projects by.
Yeah.
I have one thing to just go about this. I think the times we had back then when we asked the projects to go post on DAOtalk, maybe we could do that back then. But now when there's options, people are lazy. I think we could lose a lot of like potential good projects. Maybe we should do the first step, like, and maybe some don't want to talk about these stuff publicly directly. Maybe they just want to ask about stuff from us first. They want to compare us to others. So this is why I'm saying maybe the first step about collecting the information should be us collecting versus them giving us everything, because they might skip us and go with the competitors. This is my thoughts about this. Sorry if I just came in here. Yeah, sorry, Powers, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that makes sense. I was going to say this is probably like a broader funnel from our like opportunities that we've been talking about with like kind of the Airtable and that. So I guess this would be like a subset of that funnel. And then for the opportunities things, I think exactly what Zet's saying about some of those are like proactive and some of those are incoming. And so, yeah, I would imagine it would probably maybe fit through that existing structure. Or is this like a separate flow? Because obviously Stater came on and they would be potentially an IDO there. And so I guess I came in through the opportunities one. And we have a lot of different ones that are like, is this an investment? Is this going to be an IDO? And maybe we don't know initially.
Yeah, it's all under the same big umbrella, but like potential IDO is a very specific piece of opportunities, right? It's very specific to Mesa. It's a separate category. Yes, there are potential projects like Alpress that we have in like the incubation category, which then could eventually lead to an IDO or a token offering as well. But what we've seen in the past is like a whole list of projects that were just wanted to do an IDO, and Mesa was the platform. And so now I agree with Zet, there are more options out there. But at the same time, DXDAO is pretty open. So if that project is not willing to publicly share, like on this call, certain pieces of information, it fits. It might be harder to fit into the DXDAO Mesa IDO process, but we'll see as these come along. But it may take going out and recruiting projects to Mesa when it's appropriate. Yes.
Yeah, this is why I'm saying it might take maybe the second or third talk to talk openly about the details, because maybe it's not necessary for them to talk details if they're not even sure if they want to do the IDO with us, right? So they might have questions about now, like details about Mesa V2 is very unclear. Obviously, we don't know why they would come to us now, but let's say it's something they want to know about us, or they want to compare what we have versus what's out there. Yeah. And therefore we kind of blocking them if we say, hey, talk openly. If not, yeah, you're not for us.
That makes sense. When we have a product that is ready for IDOs, like there should be marketing material and benefits and like things related, like that can be sent out, where when someone comes to Mesa IDO website, all that's very clear why you should use Mesa versus another platform. So once there is a product, there will be selling, like that product will sell to projects, right? But you can't sell that at this point. So right now it's handling incoming interest rather than selling the product versus other options.
I mean, we might want to stack up some sales even before the product is done. There is like we have interest already now. So, but I think like we don't want to be the second choice here because someone else is full, right? Like if Polkastarter is not responding for someone, and they feel, hey, let's go to Misa just because of that. I believe that we can build something that makes projects come to us, and maybe we can't explain it, right? Maybe it's just the trust factor, and they want to know more. Like, is this the same team that did Misa versus 1? Like people don't know that it was DXDAO, right? And then comes DXDAO and say, hey, Misa V2. So it might be just, yeah, they might not even know it's us.
Yeah, I think I think there's like two separate things here. There's like the deal flow process, and then there's like the decision process, right? So the deal flow process is like, how do we like, whether it's know about the next great projects or like have them know about us, like how do we make sure that we have strong deal flow? And then secondly, it's like, how do we make decisions about that? And I think I agree with kind of what Martin has in there. This is just kind of like systemizing that process as much and getting information in a way that we can quickly make decisions. But I think we should like be doing both, right? Like we have to make sure we have good deal flow, and then we have to make sure that we're making decisions quickly and systematically.
So then are we going out actively recruiting people to use Mesa right now?
Misa, the product we have right now, or Misa future Misa?
Either one.
I think you know the answer.
No.
No, we don't. We don't.
We're not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we have something
right,
that we can like put on a page and be like, look at this awesome, first version of Mesa IDO, then we can put that out into the community, right? But it's hard. Like right now, we're just handling incoming interest. I guess we're not recruiting, right?
We are not, but in the way it would be nice if you have this kind of stuff ready. If you have the MVP at the same moment, we have like that's why we start now, because then we have like, we are ready then. Because if we then start thinking about this, then we are like too late if there's some traction.
Yeah, I think this should be a part of like the go-to-market strategy for Mesa.
But I agree with Niall, and we should, Venki and I think we will work on this further, and we can make a timing for it, and then have more structured feedback. And yeah, I think that's a good way to do it.
Yeah. All right. Kind of short on time. Chris, do you want to present the idea of UMA for DXDAO real quick?
Yeah, I think just give a little bit of an update maybe on something that explored a little bit. So I had a call about a week ago with Hart from UMA project, and there were maybe two possibilities where DXDAO and UMA could team up. One is on Omen oracles. So they have what they're calling like an optimistic oracle. And the way he described it, it's basically like reality.eth plus Claros combined. And so they have the Uman token holders actually vote on that. And so they use this for their synthetic asset creation platform now, but it could potentially be used for a lot of different things. So maybe as we look for Omen to get more involved with different oracle providers, like we could think about teaming up with them. And then second opportunity is on the synthetic asset possibility. And for this, it would be using their synthetic asset creator to mint any synthetic asset that we could then have on Swapper. So the interesting thing about UMA, their program now is they have what's called a developer mining program. So they're basically paying people in UMA rewards to mint synthetic assets. So what we could do is potentially mint a synthetic asset, whether it's silver or GME stock, and then put that on Swapper, and then actually just direct the UMA rewards to the LPs on Swapper as a way of incentivizing that. So I just think we should be thinking about like what are the type of maybe synthetic assets we use. Yam Finance has been doing this themselves. So they have a UGAS token, which was I think it was actually expired yesterday. So it was the price of gas, future price of gas they issued in like mid-December, and it was the future price of gas on January 31st. So people could use that potentially to hedge their gas cost. And then they just launched one called a like volatility index, which is based on kind of like DeFi tokens or something like that. So potentially we could do this for a lot of different things. It could be something like the DeFi market cap percentage of overall using the CoinGecko one. But I think it'd just be an opportunity to have some type of like incentivized pools on Swapper, and have something kind of interesting and unique to bring people to Swapper. So yeah, those are just kind of the two things that maybe UMA can provide.
And I guess one other interesting thing, Chris, which you kind of talked to me about, is in general, creating synthetic assets is like a kind of a gray area, right? It's like centralized counterparties like UMA themselves are not really ideally creating the synthetic assets. You want ideally decentralized DAOs creating synthetic assets, because there is a gray area. And so for DXDAO, it's an opportunity that other centralized entities probably can't take advantage of.
Yeah, and I think if you look at like FTX, for instance, is like actually playing this very well. You know, and Geronimo was talking about this, I think in the trading channel last week, and talking about using Mirror basically to mint GME tokens or GameStop tokens on Ethereum, and then be able to trade them. And so the question is, of course, like who is going to fund that synthetic, right? Because it has to be over collateralized to a point, and the person that's funding it is actually taking a short exposure. And so it's actually pretty difficult, I think, to find people to fund these synthetic assets or find a bunch of counterparties to do that. But as like FTX is demonstrating, they're creating these synthetic assets. Maybe they're hedging their exposure elsewhere, but at the end of the day, they're making money off of trading fees, right? They're getting people to come to their platform because they're trading something interesting. And so I think it's an opportunity maybe for DXDAO, because it's a decentralized entity, to be able to like fund these synthetic assets, right? And you could actually, or the way that their tokenomics work, you're supposed to be able to earn some reward for minting those. But really, the benefit would come from the trading fees that we would get potentially on Swapper, because it would give some type of it would be like an interesting product. It would be something that would draw people to the platform, and then they would like be trading fees. And this is like what any big investment bank do. They create a product, and then they are gonna make money off of like the service and the trade fees. She meant to reach out to Mike about this, just because I know he's always got ideas on fun products.
All right, sounds good. Like, what would be the next step here? Do you want to maybe post like DAO talk?
Yeah, I mean, I can think about to me, I'm trying to think about like a synthetic. I mean, so there's the Omen Oracle idea, which I can be kind of like, when the Omen team is kind of ready to think about that, if there's a possibility on that, we could kind of do that. But I think like the synthetic asset one, if we have an idea maybe of a couple different things we'd like to play around with, then we could take it back to UMA and then potentially see what type of developer mining rewards they'd be willing to do. And I think that could kind of we could drive it from there. So maybe I'll create a DAO talk post on like maybe some cool products that we could potentially create.
All right. Any other comments before we move on to the next topic? All right, so we have Neyman and MDT here from on. So there was I guess, proposal by Almonit, and that's a nice session in the Almonit channel on Keybase with feedback. Yeah, Neyman, MDT, you guys want to take it away?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so we have two things. Actually, we didn't propose this in the agenda. I think one of the guys from who tested Alpers proposed it, but we're super happy that it was done, obviously. And we have option now to discuss two things. One of those is this testing session that lots of people had in our channel. It was a Friday after midnight for us, so I was not there, but MDT was there. And if you want to discuss that, he should be the one talking. Or we also proposed a day before, like a extra feature that we want to build for DXDAO, which is DAO accounts for Alpers, so that DXDAO and other DAOs could have their own account and can have their own official publications and stuff like that. And we can also discuss that. So how should I go with it is up to you guys.
Hey, Neiman, Sky here. So basically, the reason I wanted this topic and you guys to be on this call today is because this is what we've learned from the past with DXDAO is, you know, you also presented an opportunity for DXDAO to be a part of the, like, you know, launch and growth of Alpress and Albanit, and like be a incubation and maybe investor, like future potential token holder. And so if DXDAO thinks this is a product that is useful and valuable, like DXDAO as a community has a hard time getting to like a decision, like, and things kind of sit around. And so if there's like, I guess the thing is, if we have a hard proposal for like next steps forward in terms of like the relationship between Almanit and DXDAO, we want to like figure that out and like maybe get something hard written and proposed and things like that. So like if DXDAO thinks that this product is valuable to DXDAO and especially like custom built things specifically for DXDAO, we don't want this to like just sit around and not get formal and hard. And so if anyone has any thoughts about, because we've had scenarios in the past where these ideas were interesting and then nothing happens and then it fizzles out. So revisiting it each week and making sure we take next steps is like what was important, I think, for me. And so hearing from the community about like what should be the next step is the most important thing for me. Like and the fact that everyone got to try it out and give feedback and things is an additional positive, but it's basically like what's next hard step to take.
God, I mean, thank you for helping us, advance. We should have probably thought of it ourselves to add us to the agenda, but so thank you.
No problem.
I mean, we had another proposal which we published like in the DAO talk, and also I presented like a week ago. The next hard step from us, which would be initial investment. It was not investment. I think it's like bringing Alpers to release stage, which would take about 2 months, and the budget was 15,000, which we asked to be paid in 2 times, once in the beginning and once the product is ready. Was this the kind of actual next step that you refer to?
Yeah. So I didn't even know that you guys were going to be on this call. It was really like we want the community members here to basically. I wanted people to talk about whether or not like this proposal should move forward, basically. And happy to have you. Like it's an open conversation. Like maybe people could talk about the positives or negatives to funding this proposal.
Okay, so I'll keep quiet.
Yeah, I guess John or like Chris, you guys kind of like you're aware of like we've had scenarios like this in the past and they kind of fizzle out. So like DXDAO is not very good at like closing new opportunities like this, and so this is kind of what I wanted to make happen. Yes, get to a yes or no decision to fund this and then you can figure out next steps from there. Does anyone have any like positive or negative thoughts about funding this proposal and continuing and pushing the relationship with Almanit and this product?
So I mean, I think I feel good. I haven't had a chance to actually test it out yet, so apologies for that. I mean, at a high level, it sounds good to me, right? Like decentralized blogging is like a problem that DXDAO has, right? And I think it makes a lot of sense for DXDAO to like find people and teams working on the problems that we see firsthand and like help them, like, you know, by being a customer and potentially also funding, investing in those projects. So like, you know, broad strokes, I think it makes a lot of sense. I haven't actually used it yet. Like, I would like to know, kind of have some confidence that DXDAO would actually use the product. And so if people who have tested it feel good about that, that's probably what I would be looking for.
Yeah, I had run through, I'd kind of done like a first post on Friday and actually kind of used the first post to express some of my thoughts on the platform. So if you're interested, you kind of see the first initial thoughts